Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, The Universe Listens. As a very young person, I always felt that I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders, having to make grown-up decisions in order to survive a life marked with physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. While my face was smiling on the outside, on the inside, I always secretly cried and felt miserable. However, over the years, I learned some gems that helped to turn my life around. I now get to live the life of my dreams, filled with love, travel, and wonderment. And I am absolutely passionate about sharing what I have learned with you. If you want to live your best life, tune in each week as I, along with some amazing guests, share these life-changing gems with you. Inspired to be more, do more, have more. Greetings and welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. Today's topic is cracking the confidence code. And we have joining us again today, Shauna Halley. She actually is a transformational speaker as well as an author and an educator, author of 3 wonderful books. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
yes.
Exciting.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for coming. So, cracking the confidence code. So, talk to us a little bit about that.
So, cracking the confidence code came about as I'm working with women. I find that one of the major things missing as far as their progress and their success is because they don't believe in themselves. And the reason they don't believe in themselves has nothing to do with their present life. Mm-hmm. It has to do with things that have happened in the past. So cracking the confidence code, and to add to that, is to break free from generational labels. Mm-hmm. And what I call the 3 is called the LLC, which is the label that has been placed on us. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying us because I'm a part of that too, you know. I'm in the growing phase of it, just like everybody else, just at a different path, position on the path. So the labels that have been placed on us about who we're supposed to be. Then the second L is the luggage, the outer appearance of who we were taught we were brought up to think we should be. And then the other part of it is the content, going back again. I'm all about the inside out work. So cracking the confidence code is all about taking the time, the awareness that, okay, where am I and why am I here? Not necessarily to go back into the past, because sometimes going back into the past will keep us stuck. So, okay, where am I? Where do I want to go? And then work from there. And you know, I've been listening to someone, and she's always talking about a GPS. And she said, a GPS asks you, where are you? And it says, where do you want to go? It never says, where have you been?
Right.
And in working with different individuals, I find out that if we don't focus on where we're going, then we spend too much time in the past and even looking at our present circumstances, and we can't move forward at the pace and at the time that life is causing us, pulling us towards.
Yeah. So coming from the mental health field myself, one of the things that I always took umbrage with is just the amount of time that it often takes when people are in therapy. And I would always think, because I know for me, it took a long time for me to sift through things in my life and get to a place where I understood and that type of thing. But I always felt like, should it take that long? And if people are in therapy, should it really take this long? And I remember hearing someone, I believe it was Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he said that, you can figure out everything that's happened in your past, but how does that change what's happening in your future?
Yeah.
And so very similar to what you're saying. And so what do you suggest as ways that people can, rather than focus on what's going on and dig all that up. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having that type of understanding of where you've been. Why are you thinking the way that you think? Why do you feel the way that you feel? Why are you acting in the way that you're acting? There's nothing wrong with that. And I also think that having that kind of enlightenment helps you to understand other people.
Right.
So if you understand your own motivations, then you can kind of understand other people's motivations. So I'm not saying I don't think it's a good thing, but like you mentioned, getting stuck in the past and getting stuck with, you know, and this and that, and this is kind of like reliving it and reinforcing it and making the neurons line up so much more strongly in the direction of everything that you don't want.
Right.
So how do you would suggest that people would start lining their energies up differently?
I like to think that, you know, my focus as a transformational speaker and coach is also being a visionary. So I'm able to see beyond where you are. And let's create a vision together. Let's move ourselves outside of where we are now. Yes, I am where I am. But let's move ourselves outside of where we are. And I find that when you start to move in the direction of your dream and to start to create the life that you want, then all of a sudden the past will come. You don't have to go back and pull it because it will come to remind you why you don't deserve it.
Okay. Okay.
It will show up to remind you why you know, who you think you are. And my new phrase for that is, I am a free goddess. That's who I am. So when we have a vision that pulls us into that positive direction of the life we truly deserve and is worthy of, then the past will show up. And if we're doing the work, then we can tell the past, thank you, because the past served us, even though sometimes we don't believe that. You know, it served us for whatever reason, it served us, and then we just have to say, like I have to go back to my mentor. She said it will show up, and then if it show up at an inappropriate time to kind of, you know, mess with your head, then you can schedule a time to meet with it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can schedule and say, okay, this is not a good time. It's just like a friend showing up at a time where, you know, this is not a good time. It's emotion. It's going to show up. Hey, can we meet on Friday at 2 o'clock?
Okay.
And what that does, it gives you time to come up with a solution. Because where there's problem, the solution is immediate. But if you keep focusing on the problem, the solution can't come into play. So when you give it schedule, it's like a child. I tell us this story all the time about a child. And I have 4 children, of course. When a child comes to you and they want your attention, if you tell them go away or ignore them, they will come back another way. They'll find another way. Right. And sometimes it may be worse because tantrums, hollering, whatever they do, slamming doors, you know. You know, so that's not allowed in some household, but you know, they'll find another way. And then if you address them, you say, hey, honey, I'm doing something right now. Can I talk to you in a minute? I'll come get you, or I'll be there in a few minutes, or hour, whatever the time you need. Then that child feel recognized. Right. And all our problems is seeking recognition. And once we recognize it, we have that conversation, we have the solution. So when I come to a meeting with my problem, I have a solution. Okay. And that just creates space for me to work with that. And again, it's a cycle. It doesn't go away, but it shows up less because I don't ignore it. I embrace it. I talk to it. And thank you for showing up. I even say no rehearsal today. Thank you for showing up, but we're not rehearsing today. And that's just, you know, it's when I tell people that all the time, it seems simplistic, but most of the things that makes our life easy is simplistic. Yes. Very simple. Yeah. We just make it hard by thinking we have to add. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
You did. Yes. So cracking the confidence code, and you were also speaking earlier about generational labels.
Yes. And the generational labels is, sometimes we are born into families that, based on socioeconomic background or religious background, that will tell us what we need to be and who we need to be. And as you and I know from our studies, that when we come into this world, we may look at like little children, but we are spiritual beings that came here with a purpose. And sometimes we get so stuck by the labels and then what's been poured into us as who we should be, the image of who we should be and how we should walk and talk and do all those things, that we forget our purpose. And that's why a lot of times we're so unhappy, because we're doing things based on what we were taught we need to do, not based on our own inner alignment. That's not aligning with our spiritual nature. And then we have to cracking the confidence code is being aware and starting to work on those things so you can be confident in the spiritual person, in your spiritual nature, and start walking more fully in that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people fear stepping into what their actual calling is. And as you say, the fear comes from just believing everything that you've been taught.
Right.
So we believe it. We're afraid to veer from that. There's plenty of support for you to stay exactly where you are.
Yes.
And I believe, as you do, that we all have something that we're to do, and that is calling us.
Yes.
And that, we're all waiting for that, because everything. So I know for me, I always wondered, like, why am I even here? Like, am I supposed to be just miserable every day of my life? Just get up, be miserable, work, go to sleep.
Right.
Like, for what?
Right. What type of life is that?
Like why? Like, what's the purpose of that? And just really realizing that it's got to be something else. It's got to be something else. And I think that just that awareness, like, it's got to be something else, and saying I'm in search of it, like opening that door.
Right.
That there's something, and I want to know what that something is. So just asking that question, as I say, speak.
Right.
You will get an answer.
Exactly.
So just opening that door and allowing the answer to come. And like I say, most of the times you realize it's been tapping you on your shoulder all the time. You just weren't listening to it. And then but then some people, they do hear it. They know exactly what it is, but then they're still afraid.
Right. Yes. I agree. I totally agree. What I love about, the spiritual journey is that you never have to feel ashamed of not knowing. You never have to feel, it's like, again, like you go back to just be aware and be open to, where does the door lead? Where is this leading me? Where is this feeling leading me? And be willing to go that way, even if it appears to have a result of what we may call nothing. There is something, even if it's just a little bit higher awareness of, okay, I'm listening to my intuition. I'm listening because it said go that way, nothing happened, but I'm learning to listen, because when it tells me to go this way, I go that way, something will happen. But it's those just learning to listen on those small, really small levels, so the big things can show up as well.
Yeah.
Because if you don't listen to small things, you can't expect the big things.
Right. Exactly. And I remember an exercise that someone had, I guess, suggested, like, how do you hear the small things? And they suggested that you do it like a game. So you can play games with yourself, and it's like, when it's a game, you don't put so much emphasis that you got to get it right. So, for example, if you're going to an elevator, and let's say it's 3 elevators, then you would just say, I think this one is going to open first. The doors will open to this one. And so if the door is open to that one, then it's like, yes.
Right.
But if it doesn't, it's okay. But as you practice little games like that, like when the phone rings, who do I think that is? and
I
just
like
start
that.
just start listening to your own intuition, and you'll be able to hear the difference. You eventually learn, like, okay, this is the voice that I'm supposed to be listening to versus the ego voice.
Right, right. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, I like that. And it's good training. It is. I mean, I just love life. I just love the moments that are showing up and just being in tune. You know, one of the affirmations I use all the time now is that I love listening and going along with my internal guidance system, because it's made such a huge difference. The way I look at life, you know, stuff that used to bother me, I'm like, now I know what to get into and what's not mine to do. You know, instead of trying to be involved in a whole lot, it's like, no, I'm not feeling that. And that's all I need to say. I'm not feeling I'm not feeling that. And sometimes, you know, we don't know why we're not feeling it, but it's not, no. And then later you find out, like you were telling me yesterday, you know, don't do that. And then, okay, I'm not going to do it now. Exactly. Now that I've seen that, I'm not supposed to do it. So it's beautiful. You know, and I love nature. So part of unloading and unpacking, you know, the generational labels, when I'm in nature, I feel a sense of oneness with life. And, you know, when I'm in nature, I'm finding myself, you know, just being free, feeling the freedom of just, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid of this. I'm not looking for something to be afraid of. And then, like Dr. Wayne Dyer will say all the time, don't look for occasions to be offended. You know, you know, I'm really, when I'm present and I'm working on that more myself, it's just what kind of happiness, what kind of joy. And one of my instructors would say what odor are you leaving in the room? You know, when you leave, are you leaving a sweet smelling odor, or it's like, ugh? And it's like working on leaving the right aroma in the presence of others when I come to them, because I want them to know and feel love, not judged or feel like they're less than, or just be you, okay? I'm okay with that. Right. Just be you. I want you to feel free in my presence. And I think part of allowing others to feel free in my presence is allowing myself to be free with me.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of nature too. And I was actually thinking about it today, and just like trying to, because I always say go into nature. And I'm not sure if people exactly know why. Like, why are you going? And so as I was there today, and I was, you know, noticing everything, noticing the birds and the sounds and the different types of birds, the different kinds of sounds, and noticing the crackling of the acorns that were under my feet and the leaves crackling, and I was just noticing. And when you're in that space of noticing what's right in front of you, it actually takes your mind off, the chatter stops in your brain. And so I'm not now thinking of, what do I have to do today? Is that the right thing to do today? How is that going to feel? Like, I'm not thinking about all of that stuff. I'm just present, observing, being a part of, feeling my connection with it, and that allows the chatter to quiet down. So it's actually a form of meditation within itself, just sitting. And I just used to love just sitting on the cliffs and just watching the waves just go in and come out. Go in and come out, you know, or just watching ants do what ants do, you know, or watching turtles. Like, you just get in that flow of being present with nature, and like you say, you become one with it, and then you hear things in a totally different way.
Yeah, you really do. Can I share a poem, but I turn it into a song?
Oh.
I'm not a singer though, so don't get all excited. So It's just called Sending Love to the World. And it's, I'm sending love to the world. I'm sending love to the world. I'm sending, receiving, sending, receiving, sending, receiving love. And then there's so much love in the world. I asked my angel out. They said the love that flows in you also flows in me. Universal love is the breath we all take. If the air was removed, tell me, what type of love would that create? So I said to my angel, tell me more. They said, my dear sister, let your love soar. I said to my angel, tell me more. They said, my dear sister, let your love soar. So guess what I'm doing? I'm sending love to the world. Sending love to the world. I'm sending, receiving, sending, receiving, sending, receiving love.
Oh, that was beautiful. And you just told me a fib. You sing very, it actually touched my soul.
Oh, thank
yes,
you.
That was beautiful.
Thank
you
you
for that.
Yep.
I love that.
So that's all I have.
Well, that was actually very lovely, and thank you for discussing this topic. You did mention to me about how a lot of times we carry these labels or baggage that's not ours to carry. So did you want to say anything more about that?
I can't think of anything. I always say that and then I have something else to say. So just no, the labels is just remembering as human beings, and I know your viewers are probably male and female, even though my focus is women. Sometimes we need to take ourselves off the shelf because sometimes we're waiting on permission to be our best self, to be the goddess that we are. And I am a goddess. I declare I'm free because when I take a look at you, you multiply me.
Wow.
Approval from men I seek not to incur, because the goddess in me love reflects and walks in her own destiny. There's so much to do that can never be done. I want you to join me in love and laughter. Let's have some fun. I seek to build up, not to destroy, because my joys today I pray reflect love and one universal sound.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I certainly did. Make sure you check me out at arvettemcclain.com. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe by clicking the link below. Until next time. Bye.